How do you dry a wash and go on 4C hair lol? I want to cry right now because mine isn't dry. Okay, really good question. Two simple answers. Number one, if you live in like a colder climate and it is harder for you to dry your hair, what you want to do is invest in a good diffuser and diffuse your hair either on a local setting if you're worried about a little bit of heat damage, or a warm setting. I would definitely recommend a diffuser to speed up the drying process of your wash day. Another tip is maybe do not use heavy hair products that take a little bit longer to dry. Use something a little bit lighter for your leave-in and then your gel product or whatever style you're using, and that will help with your drying process. Welcome to the channel if you're new here. My name is Kiki and I do everything hair education, product reviews and styling. In today's video, I'm going to be answering all of my questions that I received from my subscribers and my followers from TikTok, Instagram and YouTube. My first question is from Ms. Teniel_15 and she asks, what is your hair type and porosity? My hair type ranges from a 3B curl all the way to a 4A curl. My porosity is medium to high porosity. The next question is from TikTok and it's from Hidea_333 asks, what do you recommend for low porosity hair? I know you have them on your page, can you show the best ones? And if I can use a little bit of protein on it and tips as well. Okay, so we've got kind of three questions in one. So number one, what do I recommend for low porosity hair? Okay, so off the top of my head, really good products are the Aunt Jackie's Not Today. Camille Rose Moisture Milk is a lovely one as well. Wetline Extreme Gel. Eco Styler Castor Oil Gel is a lovely one for low porosity hair. The As I Am Double Buttercream, another great one. And the Miele Organics Pomegranate and Honey Line are all great for low porosity hair. In terms of can you use protein on it? Yes, you can use protein on your hair, and I would advise that even if you do have low porosity hair, you still use protein because you want to have a good protein and moisture balance. But how much you use and how frequently you use will depend on how your hair responds to it. Start off using some protein once a week with your wash day, see how your hair gets on, and if it responds well, continue with that. If not, you might need to scale it back a little bit. And the last question, tips for low porosity hair. Your main tips are that you want to make sure that you apply warm water before you add your styling products into your hair. That will help with the absorption of your products. Try to use lightweight products as opposed to heavy butters and oils. So things like sprays might work a little bit better for you, or lighter leave-in conditioners as opposed to heavy butters and creams, depending on how your hair responds to that. And that's generally the main two tips I would give low porosity hair. My next question is from YouTube. This is from DubX. Asks, good dandruff shampoo without sulfate. Okay, so I'm not a huge expert on dandruff shampoo. I have got a few that do market towards dandruff issues and do not have sulfates in them. So some of these are the TGIN Moisture Rich Shampoo, Apple Cider Vinegar by Majestic Pure, and the As I Am Tea Tree Shampoo are all good recommendations if you have dandruff. Next question is from the same person. Products for faster and thicker hair growth. So in terms of faster and thicker hair growth, this is a little bit of a hard topic because generally your hair has a rate of what it grows, that's down to genetics, and you can't really speed that up if you're already moving at optimum. So you want to just make sure that whatever you put into your body, i.e. the vitamins that you get from your diet and the protein on your protein intake, is all at the recommended daily amounts for what you should be eating to make sure that all of that growth happens at an optimum rate for you. You cannot necessarily speed it up, it is down to your genetics, but you can do things like you can invest in a nice scalp oil and give yourself scalp massages and increase some of the blood flow to your scalp to make sure your hair is stimulated, and that will help with the hair growth generally. In terms of speeding up, not so much. Thicker hair growth, that is another one that is down to genetics. You have as many follicles on your head as you have, and the amount of follicles you have determines on how thick your hair is. For me, you cannot really see my scalp at all when I part my hair. And that means that I have a lot of hair follicles, I have very high density hair, and I have very thick hair. So somebody who has less hair follicles on their head, they will have thinner hair than, for example, me, even though we may have the same hair type. So it all just depends on, the main things are your diet, to answer it really bluntly, and the products you use to make sure your hair is at optimum health and strength will allow your hair to appear overall thicker and fuller. So the next question is from TikTok. This is just here for the last 17. Asks, hi, how do I fix my hair? My hair is high porosity, but it also has a lot of holes that go through my head. So if you have more of a high porosity hair type, I'm thinking you are probably asking me how do you improve that porosity to be a little bit more healthy, because high porosity can sometimes indicate that there is some damage to the hair cuticle. Try to include some strengthening masks into your hair care regimen. I would advise you use a bond reconstructor or Olaplex number 4, I believe it is, the Aftergy 2-minute reconstructor as well. And I would recommend you do that bi-weekly. So 1 week do a moisture deep condition or a moisture treatment, the next week do a reconstructing treatment or a protein treatment for your hair, and that is just going to make sure your hair strengthens up a little bit more. As well as that, make sure you are trimming off any dead hair, any split ends, any damaged hair from heat or colour. That is going to contribute to the overall porosity of your hair. The next question is from Instagram. Tinuola93 asks, have you ever had psoriasis? Quite simply, no, I've never had psoriasis. I do have very sensitive skin, so I have to be careful with changing up my products and stuff like that, but I've never experienced psoriasis, thank God, because I've seen what that looks like and it looked really, really painful. So back to YouTube. The next question is, when you use a conditioner to detangle, what do you recommend for it to not reach your scalp? If you have very, very short hair or you have shaved hair, there's not much you can do in terms of conditioner touching your scalp or not. It's not that big of a deal. I always generally have the conditioner touching my scalp. I apply it from my root, even though I know it's not advised for you to apply conditioner, but I apply it from the root because generally that's the thickest part of my hair anyway, and I distribute it down and it does touch my scalp. Never had any issues with that. I think if you are experiencing issues, then you need to stop doing that, but as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if your conditioner touches your scalp, especially if you're a man and you need to condition your hair. There's not much you can do about it. This final question is from LolaDV3 from Instagram. Asks, is it true hair doesn't absorb protein that's in stylers like mousse, gel, etc? From my experience, there is a certain level of absorption that will go into your hair at a superficial level. In terms of your stylers and your gels, proteins are going to be absorbed into your hair to fill in the gaps that are missing. But in terms of kind of like the repair and going into the actual inner cortex of the hair shaft, it's not going to do that. It's going to stay at a really superficial level as opposed to doing any treatment from inside of the hair shaft. And that's what your bond reconstructors are for, as opposed to stylers and mousses, which will probably just sit on your hair shaft and not really do too much. It will affect how your hair feels and it will affect how the product performs. Hope that answers your question. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments whether you actually like these sorts of videos where I interact with my community and my subscribers, and turn on those post notifications to keep up to date with all of my uploads, and I will see you next time.